Disney to create more gay content for children. Disney CEO Bob Chapek has promised to produce more LGBT content for the studio's youngest audience members. Of course they have, because they're degenerate perverts who want to destroy the American dream and everything that goes along with it.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am the Anti-Woke Warrior. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed, and please watch the video to the very end. That does seem to help the algorithm more than anything. I do appreciate everybody stopping by and supporting my work. I have not made a single dime off of YouTube at this point, so anything you can do to support me is greatly appreciated. I no longer have Patreon or any of that stuff. I did have Patreon for a while, but I never got any donations, and that's okay. I don't do this entirely to make money. Otherwise, I would have given up a long time ago. Obviously, I have to speak out about this woke garbage. That's why I'm here. It'd be nice if I could make a little side cash with this YouTube channel, but it's more about the message for me. So anyway, let's get back into what this article is all about here. Why is Disney, doing this stuff? Why is this happening? Let's see if it says here in the article. Employees of the mega corporation staged a walkout on Tuesday in protest of Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. Just one day after Chapek told a town hall audience that he was creating a task force to ensure greater LGBT awareness and content is made available for children, according to the Daily Mail. There is no such thing as the Don't Say Gay bill. That is a name that the media made up and gave to this bill, or somebody made up and gave to this bill. The bill is all about not teaching children about sex. It has really nothing at all to do with gay or straight or any of that. And why is it important? People will say gay is just a way that I love another human being. It's just, I prefer the company of men, or I prefer the company of women if you're lesbian, right? Well, no. This is just some obfuscation, some smokescreen that these people try to put up to get you to side with them. Say, look, I just love a person who happens to be the same gender as me. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not going to go into whether that's right or wrong, because that's not what this channel's about. But the important thing is I've loved lots of men. Men I would walk through hell to help. I've never wanted my wiener to be inside of them. I've never wanted their wiener to be inside of me. Never wanted to touch their wiener. I've never wanted them to touch my wiener. Being gay or being straight is all about sex. Okay? To all those people out there who think, oh, it's just about how you love. No, it's not. It's about how you do bedroom stuff. And children don't need to know about that. Children do not need to know about that. This bill specifically, and we're going to talk about it when we get to another article here, this bill specifically says you don't talk about these sorts of relationships with children between the ages of 4 and 8. And I think it should be between the ages of 4 and 10, but what do I know? We know the moment requires urgency. The words are not enough, so we are taking some actions right now, Chapek reportedly told audiences. The LGBTQ task force is set to be led by Disney Studios Senior Vice President of Communications and Senior Vice President of Global Marketing and Disney Parks Experiences and Products. The purpose of the task force is to create a comprehensive plan to guarantee that Disney is seen as a force for good for LGBT children and adult communities, according to the outlet. A force for good by teaching their youngest audience members about where people should be placing their wieners.
We're coming for them. We're coming for your children.
Children should not be exposed to this sort of subject matter. Let them be children. Don't introduce them to adult material. If you want to have like a stable, healthy environment, that's one of the tenets. Because you know what? In a lot of these places where the children are the most miserable, they are shown these adult behaviors at a young age. They experience these adult behaviors at a young age. Let children be children. They're not allowed to be children. Children are not allowed to be children in a lot of places in the world where they are miserable. Back to the article. On top of creating LGBT content for children, Disney will be putting a pause on political contributions in Florida, U.S. News noted. Instead, the company will be funneling money towards a human rights campaigns against Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Oh, how evil he is, I'm sure. Who is currently fighting to ensure that children are not given extreme forms of gender reassignment surgery. Yep, sounds like a bad guy to me. I mean, I don't know Greg Abbott. I don't know much about him at all, really. But if he is fighting to ensure that children are not given gender reassignment surgery, I think he's doing the right thing. Children don't know what the hell they want. As I've stated on this channel, I thought that when I was a child, I was going to get a sex change when I grew up so that I would know what it was like to kiss a man with a mustache. Yeah, kids are stupid. I was no exception. It's because kids don't have the worldly perspective of adults. And even at 18, you're too young to make this decision. If you want to permanently alter your reproductive system so that you are the opposite gender. I didn't. I certainly did not. Maybe there's some really mature 18-year-olds out there. I did not have that maturity. Let's take a look at another article here on Disney workers walk out to protest the company's stance toward anti-gay bill. This is all in response. This Disney targeting kids with LGBT content is all about these workers walking out. Now, if I were you, I would just stop supporting Disney altogether, period, hands down, if you're against this sort of thing. I've done that. I don't support Disney. I don't give Disney any of my money. I don't watch any of Disney's channels. They have a lot of channels. The History Channel, Discovery Channel, right? The ABC, ESPN. They have a bunch of different channels. I don't watch any of that stuff. Oh, well. I don't want to be part of that. Don't want to be part of that. I've had problems with ABC anyway. Living out here, dealing with people who work for ABC, they're not good people anyway. So Disney workers are going to walk out. Organizers have also planned a social media storm at 11 a.m. on Tuesday to coordinate posts of support. So that was probably yesterday? I don't know. Maybe it's next Tuesday. I don't know. Because today is Wednesday that I'm recording this. I know you're probably watching it on Friday if you're watching it. So Disney workers are coordinating a day-long walkouts on Tuesday to protest what organizers call the company's apathy to an anti-LGBTQIA plus bill in Florida that is only awaiting the governor's signature to become law. Again, it is not an anti-gay bill. It's anti-all sex for children. I think you should not be teaching sex ed to children at schools until they reach 6th grade. They're 11 usually at that point. That's old enough to teach them about this sort of thing. Some Disney-owned brands, including Disney Plus, Disney Parks, ESPN, and ABC News, posted statements of support on Tuesday morning on social media saying they stand with LGBTQIA plus employees, colleagues, and fans and oppose legislation that infringes on the basic human rights of people in the LGBTQIA plus community. Really? So not talking about homosexual sex in schools is now a violation of basic human rights. Yep. That's what this has come to. Again, like I said before, let children be children. They don't need to know about this stuff. They really don't. I knew what sex was when I was a child. Look how I turned out. Here's what is this, a tweet? Employees, colleagues, families, storytellers, and fans. And we strongly denounce all legislation that infringes on the basic human rights of people in the LGBTQIA plus communities, especially legislation that targets and harms young people and their families. We strive to create a service that reflects the world in which we live, and our hope is to be a source for inclusive, empowering, and authentic stories that unite us in our shared humanity. Yeah, see, the thing is, LGBTQIA plus is by far an exception, and the more that we talk about this, the more it's going to become the norm. And this is what Disney wants. There was a book I read called The Forever War. It's very highly acclaimed. I think they're making it into a movie. I didn't care for it that much. But the one thing that was interesting to me was in the future, Earth is so overpopulated that they convince everybody to become homosexual, and that if you're heterosexual, you have some sort of mental problem. And that's how they control the population. Organizers of the walkout said the statements posted to Disney accounts were tirelessly advocated for by their own LGBTQIA plus coworkers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's so many of them out there. How much of Disney is made up of LGBTQIA? And how many of those people are actually LGBTQIA? None of them, in my experience, are that thing. They just pretend like they are, or they think that they are. They have some sort of mental problem that makes them think that they are. The Disney walkouts are the latest example of rank-and-file workers agitating over their employers' political stances. The country's divisive political climate has repeatedly put corporations in the middle of a tug-of-war between outraged factions of employees, customers, and investors. For people directly affected by a bill or debate, a company's position may come as a personal affront. But even for those who aren't, the protests and divisions may mean considering politics the next time they decide where to shop, which streaming service to pay for, or even where to take a vacation. Florida's Parental Rights in Education bill, which opponents refer to as the Don't Say Gay bill, would ban classroom instruction about sexual orientation or gender identity from kindergarten to 3rd grade and prohibit the same for older students if the instruction fails to be age-appropriate or developmentally appropriate. Florida's legislature approved the bill earlier this month, and Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to sign it into law. So there you go. Sexual orientation or gender identity. for little kids. That's all it's about. It's about more than that. It's about just talking about sex in general. Disney initially took no public stance, then later said it advocated against the legislation behind the scenes after the bill passed. The company took an official position against the bill, and CEO Bob Chapek apologized to employees on March 11th for failing to be a stronger ally. While we certainly appreciate Bob Chapek's apology note, there is still more work to be done. Organizers wrote in an open letter last week. The letter also said Disney leadership utterly failed to appreciate the magnitude of the bill and the effect of the legislation on Disney workers in Florida and beyond. Disney World, based outside Orlando, is a massive resort that includes 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, dozens of hotels, golf courses, retail stores, and entertainment venues. Tens of thousands of employees welcome tens of millions of visitors every year. Walkouts by Disney workers at public venues like its parks would be visible, but many of the company's office employees are still working remotely, which may make it difficult to gauge the scope of the protest. So yeah, I got a bunch of people working behind the scenes that nobody's going to notice walked out. Other than say, oh, look, those people are protesting it. So what? Who cares if they protested? I don't care. Go ahead and protest it all you want to. As long as, Disney is making money, they're not going to care about these protests at all one bit. If these protests impact their bottom line, that's when they're going to start caring. Earlier this year, Spotify workers pushed back against the streaming service support of podcaster Joe Rogan. And last year, Netflix employees staged walkouts over Dave Chappelle's comedy special that critics called transphobic. Workers at Apple, Google, and Amazon have organized against their company's culture, privacy, policies, and other issues, and it's gotten them nowhere. Yeah, so like I said, this is only going to work if it impacts Disney's bottom line. And what's going to impact their bottom line is all of us going, no, we don't want to see LGBTQIA plus people or relationships represented in our children's media, in our media in general, period. I don't have a Netflix account. Why? Because it's too woke. You might be like, oh, dude, you are missing out. Arcane is amazing. I've seen Arcane. I've seen every episode of it. And it is very much woke. It's a good show. It's a good story. Yeah, but it's very much woke. What we got in there? Five of the 9 main characters in the show are physically impressive women, more physically capable than men. You got one other woman in there who's strong, but she's a political leader. And then you got 3 male main characters, one of whom is like severely crippled. Only one of the male characters really does anything physical of it that is really impressive. It's all about how women are awesome and men can take a back seat. That's fine. And women are awesome. I love women. They're amazing. They do amazing things. I adore women. Unfortunately, it's caused me a lot of pain and heartache in my life. But they shouldn't be doing the things that men do. They should be doing the things that women do. And I'm sorry if that's not action-oriented or that's not main character-oriented enough for you, but that's the truth of it. That's how the world should work. Having that philosophy allowed us to advance technologically enough to put human beings on the moon. And what's happened since then? We've fallen into despair and the Western world is crumbling. Yippee! We made the right choice. Notice how we changed the way that we interact, male and female. Right about the same time we put people on the moon. Decided it was gone far enough. Men have done enough. We can give the world over to women now. It's going to be great. This is the for the Walkout, Disney Walkout. Here you go. The recent statements by the Walt Disney Company, TWDC, leadership regarding the Florida legislature's recent Don't Say Gay bill have utterly failed to match the magnitude of the threat to the LGBTQIA plus safety represented by this legislation. Primarily, those statements have indicated that leadership still does not truly understand the impact this legislation is having not only on cast members in the state of Florida, but on all members of the LGBTQIA plus community in the company and beyond. While we certainly appreciate Bob Chapek's apology note, there is still more work to be done. Due to the lack of compassion and advocacy, the Walt Disney Company LGBTQIA plus community and their allies are determined to take a stand via multiple direct actions, including both virtual and in-person protests, the first of which will take place on Tuesday, March 15th. Okay, so that was Tuesday last week. The Walt Disney Company's previous suggestions for addressing the concern around this law have included creating more inclusive content, encouraging a welcoming culture, supporting the diverse community organizations. Okay, why would you do all that unless you had an agenda to push? And your agenda is to push this insane notion that human beings should be LGBTQIA+. That's really what it is. It's not about allowing them to live their lives or making it okay for them to live their lives. It's about forcing that point of view on the rest of us, on the majority who are not that way. That's what it's really about. Because, like I've said before, this is all a mental thing. This is a mental thing. Look, I know 2 men who are identical twin brothers. One of them, and only one of them, is gay. very much gay. The other one is not. I thought it was all genetic. It's all genetic. They don't have any control over it. Oh, it happens in the womb. It's because of the hormones that they're exposed to in the womb. No, it happens because they think they are. Obviously, if these are identical twin brothers and only one of them is gay, what does that say about the other one? They were exposed to the same chemicals in the womb, and they have genetically identical brains. Huh. What a weird concept that it's actually not something they can't control. I'm not saying that you deserve to be punished for being that way. I'm not saying that you can't be that way. I'm just saying that this is something that if you keep pushing this, it's going to become more common in the culture. And do I think that LGBTQ people are going to be going around and like harming children? Like we need to have this don't say gay bill because they're going to go around harming children. No, I don't think that at all. I don't think that's what they necessarily do. There are some, of course, who do, yes. Just like there are people who are not part of the LGBTQIA plus community who harm children. But this is something that they're pushing. They keep pushing for this. Now, I've looked at the studies. I mean, some show there's an increase in identifying as one of these people in this. This is an abbreviation. It's an initialism. It's not an acronym. LGBTQIA is not an acronym. Trust me, look it up. I don't know if there's an increase or not, but it seems like that's what they're pushing for. We have to be inclusive. We have to show all these different people. We always have to have everything be about these people who are not white men. Or not white people, specifically not white men. And you might be saying, oh, you're just whining because you're a white man and you're feeling excluded. No, I'm whining because they're trying to take this minority and make it seem like it's a majority. And we've seen this in the studies that show that people think that there's way more black people in America than there are. Foreigners think that. They'll say, oh, 50% of the population in America is black. No, it's not. It's not anywhere near that. But that's the thing. They want to push this. They always want to push harder and harder and harder for their agenda, not for reality, for their agenda. Back to this note here. As Mr. Chapek states in his apology note, it is clear that this is not just an issue about a bill in Florida, but instead yet another challenge to basic human rights. We reaffirm that both sides' rhetoric is harmful and hurtful because being LGBTQIA+ is not a political opinion or side. It is people, community, and families. We are glad to see that we agree with Mr. Chapek on this. It is about human rights and not political affiliation. We'd like to take this opportunity to make it clear cast members' identities are not political issues, and safety and well-being is crucial to the success of this company. No cast member or their family members should be forced to live in fear, and it is unacceptable to use the profits of our labor to take our human rights away. Jeez, this is so... This rhetoric here is so hyperbolic. We stand in solidarity with our colleagues in Florida who will be directly harmed by this new law and yet still required to perform their duties for a company that not only failed to prevent but also tacitly funded it. This becomes especially concerning when you consider that the Walt Disney Company is requiring even more employees to work and live in Florida, making even more cast members targets of this harmful law. It's not going to harm anyone. Who is it going to harm? Who's it going to come after? What does this bill do to harm you as an adult? What does it do to harm you as a child? Can you please explain this to me? Because I don't see it harming anyone at all, period, ever. The Walt Disney Company claims to integrate DEI in its core values, but the employees have yet to see fruitful integration of this program that is properly uplifting marginalized voices, moreover in an intersectional way, but supporting the politicians who brought this legislation and not taking a public stand against it. Chapek and the Walt Disney Company leadership have made it clear that they are more than willing to sacrifice their employees' health and wellness in service of the bottom line. We will not stand for this anymore. Really? So you think that you're going to take one of the most powerful corporations in the world and be like, you have to stop making money and support our agenda, and they're going to listen to you? You think that uplifting marginalized voices, and these voices are not marginalized, there's nothing keeping you from speaking if you are gay or LGBTQIA+. You can speak as much as you want to. You're just the minority. It's this weird thing that you wanna push on everybody else. The Walt Disney Company's LGBTQIA+ community and their allies will be participating in some combination of the following actions to protest this gross inaction and lack of accountability. A coordinated work break protest. Oh, that sounds threatening. A walkout/stick out. Other venues of protest as folks feel comfortable. Walt Disney could just ignore all this and continue to function. Our community will not sit silently while the Walt Disney Company fails in its obligations to advocate for employees to claim to support with unwavering commitment profits off our labor and boasts of record profits it has used to fund politicians who legislate unsafe schools for our youth. The ongoing attempts to placate the LGBTQIA community with subpar representation in the content produced and donations to well-meaning organizations are simply not enough. You cannot fix this with educational seminars or token background characters. Even organizations like HRC refuse your money until action is taken. Well, okay, why do you need these characters to be main characters? You really think that you need to see yourself in all of these different characters, or else you're going to have a low self-esteem. Well, Disney doesn't care about your self-esteem. Are Disney's princesses hurting your daughter's self-esteem? Oh, wow. What a concept. Let's go back here. Got other ones here. Really bad dating advice from Disney princesses. You can look at this here. What are they telling us to do? Change for a man. Lying is okay. Going off with a strange man is safe. You have to give up everything. A criminal is a good choice. Yeah, you have to stay home. A kiss while you're asleep is romantic. You need a man. You have to wait for him. You have to wait for him. This is the one right here. You have to wait for your prince. That's the one that's really harming us. Oh, here you go. Disney princesses may impact gender stereotypes for girls, but not boys, study finds. Oh, wow. What this article is saying, because I've seen other articles about this topic, is that these are reinforcing gender stereotypes for girls, but not for boys. As the Disney princesses are doing that. Oh, no. It's terrible. It's horrifying. Yeah, but Disney doesn't care about that. They care about your bottom line. Here we have this tweet from Disney here. To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disney Parks experiences and products are committed to creating experiences that support family values for every family and will not stand for discrimination in any form. We oppose any legislation that infringes on basic human rights and stand in solidarity and support our LGBTQIA cast, crew, guests, and fans who make their voices heard today and every day. And what if they don't make their voices heard? They don't speak out. We don't care about those ones. And you want to sit here and talk about values for every family. You support family values for every family. What if your family values incest? There are families that are like that. What if your family values pedophilia? I wouldn't be surprised if Disney was like, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. Yep. There are families out there where the older male children or the father will engage in intimate relationships with the younger daughters or sisters, depending on who's doing it. And even, grandparents will do this to their children. And the families are okay with it. Horrifying and disgusting. But, as we can see here, looking at USA Today, or actually this is Charlie Kirk, USA Today piece claims pedophilia is just inappropriate and among most misunderstood conditions in the U.S. today. Yeah, it's just inappropriate and misunderstood. It's not really a danger to anyone at all. So this progressive notion that, hey, you know what, you can just do whatever you want to do as long as it's sick and twisted and it's not white. As long as it's not white, it's not considered white, and all these different things they consider white. Well, I'm white, so they consider me white. But the whole point is that everything that's white is bad. Man, I don't know what's happening. I do know what's happening, but it's just how is this even possible? How is it that we've gone this far into degradation? I don't get it. That we have these people standing up and screaming about something that isn't even a problem. Even if you think you're totally wrong about LGBTQIA+, it is a genetic, inborn, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's fine, whatever. We've already overcome this issue of these people being harmed. It's always been illegal to harm them. I mean, openly anyway. You're not allowed to assault people. They can serve as politicians. They can operate in the military. They can hold any position in society. We're not allowed to discriminate. 1963 was when the law was written up, and 1964 was when it was enacted. How many years ago is that now? 60. Almost 60 years. And you're still sitting here crying about how, it's not fair. You mistreat those people. I have more important things to worry about than going around going, oh, look, we got to be anti this or got to be anti that. I just want to be anti-woke because the woke is so stupid. It's anti-me. That's really what it comes down to. And I'm not going to stand for it. I got to do something about it. And I've stood up to my employer, too. They want to go down this woke rabbit hole. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. It's illegal. You can't do it. Have fun with that. Do whatever you want to do to me. But I'm not going to work here. I'm not going to put up with your degradation of me just for my paycheck. That's when, the bad guys win, is when you just capitulate to what they want you to do because, I can't afford to lose my job. I can't afford to lose my health insurance. I can't. But if I have to, I'm not going to be pushed aside because I am supposedly evil because I am white and male. That's not the case. If I were to say that about any other group of people, oh, you're evil because you're black and male. You're evil because you're black and female. You're evil because you're Hispanic and male. They would be like, what are you talking about? You're stupid. It'd be considered racism. We all know this already. I mean, if you're listening to this, you already know all this. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I do really appreciate everybody supporting my work. I'm going to be on the Terrence Pop show in the near future. I don't know when. I have not been able to get back to them. I'm so busy with this going back to campus thing. It's just like I have to schedule all my time because it's like too much stuff going on. And I'll be able to get back to them hopefully sometime in the near future. And then it should be next month when I get on their show. And I look forward to seeing you all there. I'll announce when that's going to happen. But again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.